Sometimes in my videos or under my comments or even in my DMs, people will, tell me humanity is lost. You got to stop trying to save people, uh, or things of that nature. Just like people, the saying, you can bring a horse to water, you can't make it drink. Very nihilistic thoughts, very, Debbie Downer type of thoughts. And I look at these comments and I can see where they're coming from. You see a lot of death, destruction, and all these things. But the reason, I come up here and I speak, and all the other amazing souls that are on YouTube and all the other platforms, I feel like, and I can't speak for them, but for me at least, why I speak is because once you realize what we truly are, you realize that we have literal codes, literal powers within us, just waiting for us to unlock it. It's like, why not speak about it? Why not try to, you know, knock on somebody's temple and let them know how powerful they are? I'm not here to try to save you. I'm not here to try to uh, proclaim myself as some teacher or perfect person, because I go through my ups and downs. I got desires, all that type of stuff. But what I can say is I no longer let the human programming let me forget the power that we all hold. And so that's why I come up here and speak. And for today's lore, that's what I want to talk about, is the codes of our reality and how to awaken to the codes of our reality and use the little energetic codes, our codes within and in the external, to reprogram our reality, but also to help us remember our power, right? That's the lore for today. And to start this lore, I wanted to start with this excerpt from Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. If you're looking for any book, say you're a reader, which is rare. If you're a reader, you're a rarity in this experience. If you're looking for any book, I highly suggest this. It's a great read for wherever you are on your journey. It explains complex things in very simple terms. It's down in the link below. All right. So this excerpt. Now let's back up a bit and look at how scientists came to discover the quantum universe, which happened when they began studying the subatomic world. They found that atoms, the building blocks of everything in this physical universe, like literally everything, are made up of nucleus surrounded by a large field containing one or more electrons, right? So you have a nucleus, and then around that nucleus is one or more electrons. This field is so large in comparison with the tiny electrons, right? So think of like this field, like the swimming pool that the nucleus and the electrons are swimming in, right? That is so tiny in comparison that the electrons, that appears to be 99.9% empty space, right? So that field is just empty space, not a pool, just empty space, right? But as you read above, it says above, but we're going to get into, what's really in that empty space, right? The space isn't actually empty. It's made up of a vast array of energetic frequencies that make up invisible, interconnected fields of information. So everything in our known universe, although it may appear to be solid and physical to the physical eyes, is actually 99.999% energy or information. So I know that might have been a mouthful, and you like, how does this, play into codes of our reality? How do we use this to empower ourselves? And something that has really helped me in my experience is mastering the basics, right? So it's understanding that at the core, bro, everything is energy. And that just explained it. That's science, right? So for all my scientifics, that's science right there. All atoms are made up of 99.99999% energy and space. But as we know, in that, right, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So in that space lies vibrations. And what has happened is the things that we see around us, right? Those things are simply, right, those atoms are simply operating at a certain vibration that then manifest into a physical experience. And to keep it simple, take emotions, for example, right? The emotions that we feel simply operate at a certain vibration that then create the emotions we feel, that then create the emotions that we express. And as we know, if you've been tapping in with the lore on the channel, you know that we have the ability to take those emotions and alchemize them into higher states of consciousness, into higher feelings, right? Allowing us to transcend those lower vibratory states. Now, I'm not out here saying, you can mess around and alchemize, a piece of wood into something. It's possible, but it takes deep states of meditation and practice, right? Because once you understand that everything is simply operating at a different vibration and that's what's manifesting, you understand, okay, everything is the same. Now it's just about how do you go about changing that vibratory state into another, and that's the process of alchemization. But for this lore, I want to talk about how we can use this to understand how the codes of our universe literally are different states of vibration, how from words, numbers, synchronizations, frequencies, all those things hold a different vibratory state, and we can use that to help us remember our power. How so? Is think about, where you came from in the sense of the spiritual realm, right? You came down here as a spiritual being, full with light, connected to source, right? And you embodied this physical vessel, okay? And so then the beings of this reality has casted this spell over us, used what? Words, symbols, systems, right? To then code into us, right? Lower vibrations, lower conscious states, ideologies of duality, ideologies of separation and hate and fear and all those things. All those things have simply been coded into us. It's not our natural state, but they have been coded into us. Why? Because we are beings that are capable of taking in energy and then letting it transform into something malleable. And to better understand this example, take water, for example, right? As I stated, not every item is as easily malleable as water, right? But some may have done this practice already, but it's a very simple practice to start recoding your reality, your inward reality, but also your outward reality. Water is capable of holding on to energy very easily, right? So what you can do is you can code that water in the sense that you can write numbers on it that carry a certain frequency, right? Like 888, which carries that frequency of abundance. You can write a message on it, right? Or you can write a simple word that carries a frequency of abundance. And so then when you drink that water, it's almost like drinking what's it called? It's almost like drinking that code. It's drinking that energy. And so relating it back to, how this system has coded into us, right? All they've used is the same wisdom that they've tried to keep us away from. So why I say, mastering the basics is because if you think about it, like, yeah, they may have used some advanced stuff to, scale their operation of this spell. But if you're starting off in your journey and you're looking to, start recoding your reality, it starts with the basics. It starts with understanding that numbers, words, synchronizations, the TV you're watching, the shows you're watching, colors, food, all carry their own vibration. But the same way that this system can come in and recode our natural state, you have the ability to put your own energy onto these things, right? So for example, one thing that I like to do is food, right? Before I eat my food, I'll sit with it and I'll send some energy to it. Do some Reiki, you can call it, right? And I'll just send some energy to it. My intentions, whatever it is, fill me up with some vibes, right? And then when I eat that food, I'm eating that energy. And so it's like now you're no longer walking in this realm, letting the codes of this matrix program you, but you're choosing to reprogram your own inner matrix. You're choosing to reprogram your own inner mind. So bringing this full circle, why I'm very key on us connecting with the higher realms is because they have the codes for us, right? They have it's like using or maybe, okay, hold up. Let's see. Let me see how I want to put this together. The reason why it's important for us to connect with the higher realms is because they have the understanding for us. They have the understanding for us. Because the same way that one can be ignorant to the codes that has been used to program our mind, one can be ignorant to the messages that the higher realms have for us if we do not choose to connect with them. It can go right over our heads, right? Same way things can go right over our heads. These messages and these power-ups and these upgrades can go right over our heads if we don't choose to connect with the higher realms. Because our higher self, our ancestors, our spirit guides, they all hold the messages for us, right? And it's unique to everybody, but also within our very DNA. But that only happens by choosing to transcend energy through our chakras and awakening that power within us. And how we do that is by recoding our inner universe. And so that can happen on multiple levels, but it's understanding the energetic basics of this realm, that from the words we speak, the food we're eating, the TV we're watching, it all holds different codes, different states of vibration that we are feeding ourselves. So then the question becomes, what are you feeding yourself? And if I'm feeding myself something, how can I start to put my own essence on it, right? This is the power we hold. This is why I come up here and speak, is because we have the ability to literally recode this entire matrix, right? But it starts with the understanding of it first. It starts with the connection of our higher self, right? There's deeper lore to get into it, and I could go into, how each number represents. Like, for example, the number one by itself, and it's really equations. Like, it get mathematical with it, right? When you put two numbers together, they mean completely different things from when they're opposite. And so it's just being mindful, and this is why it's important to know what you're practicing. It's just being mindful, because say you want to go write a sequence of numbers on your water, right? It's important to know what it is you're writing on your water, or what energy you're putting into. So quick lore right here. The one, like, just the number, like, one just by itself, it represents something waiting to be revealed, almost like a gateway, or like a book that's unlocked that requires a key that comes from the inner codes and things like that. A one and one together represents a master number, a balance of sorts, right? The one and one come together is two represents that balance, right? And then you put the sequence of 111 together, and that's where you get your code of gateway, right? It's representing just newness, embracing the newness, relaxing and receiving that new energy, right? Embracing the doorway of newness, right? And so this is what I mean when I say how colors, numbers, words, they all hold energy. And so when you put them in certain, sequences, they start to create new energy. Like, if you were to create affirmations, what you're doing is you're putting words in a certain sequence that now carries a energy that then becomes a code. And when you say it repeatedly, it's almost like coding something into your inner matrix, right? And so just going back to understanding how everything is energy, it's like now you can look at your world differently, because it's now not just seeing everything as so physical, but understanding the energetics behind it. And you can go as far as, maybe you got a room, right? And you want your room to be filled with abundance. You can start to look up codes of abundance, words of abundance, and then write them on your wall. Because what is happening is, like, think of like a t-shirt, right? Like, you see this shirt right here. Like, the art is infused with the hoodie, right? So the hoodie is the wall, and then the words that you use now becomes infused into the wall. And so now that the wall and the room itself now carries that energy that you put into it. And so it's just things like this that can begin to help us realize the power that we hold, to no longer be fooled and let the words of these pagonomics and let the systems of these pagonomics fool us into thinking that we are anything less than cosmic beings having a human experience. And so for me, it's just important that we start to recognize this, that we start to embody this. And for me, in my experience, it's like just really being that reminder to ourselves. And I think that's important. And I think using affirmations, using angel numbers and synchronizations, but having a real understanding of what it really is doing energetically, right? Understanding the energetics behind it, how it's coding our inner matrix, creating new code that then gets broadcasted in our electromagnetic field, that then creates the new reality that we're attracting, right? And so it's just important that we start to use, the tools in our daily practice, so that we are being reminded of the cosmic being that we are. Because they gonna throw all types of shit, especially right now, bro. Especially right now. They gonna throw all types of shit to try to get us to forget, to fuck with our frequency. And we gotta stand 10 toes down behind these practices, behind the lessons we've learned, behind the healing that we've done, and all of those things. One thing I can say right now, for anybody who is scared to do any sun gazing, get out in the sun and do some sun gazing. Why I say that is because the energy of the sun, that light that gets transversed into your eyes, is carrying messages, right? The same way that emotions are energy in motion, and that those emotions are carrying information for you to learn about yourself, it's the same thing with the energy of the sun. And so the energy of the sun then gets transversed into the light that pierces our eyes, but not just the physical eyes, our third eye too. And so it's through that process that we can begin to get downloads from that information of the energy of the sun that helps us begin to heal, begin to evolve, begin to unlock things within our DNA. We've been talking about here on the channel how we're connected to nature. And so the same way that, the plants use the sun to turn the sun's energy into nutrients to help them grow, we have a similar process within our being, using what we have called is melanin. All right, so that's some lore. Okay, that's some lore. I highly suggest, wherever you feel called to, look further into the things that I've said, right? This is getting a little off topic, but a main thing that in crypto is to do your own research. So anything that resonated within this video, do a little bit more research, dive into a little rabbit hole. Because I promise you, one thing that I can say is it's very nice being able to come up here, speak, and it's also very nice to be able to watch videos. But having your own understanding, meditating on it, really seeing what resonates, letting your own ancestors come through and give you that information, and letting that, become your unique practice, it hits completely differently. And honestly, I feel like that's what spirituality is. It's finding your own inner truth, right? And being rooted in that, and letting those practices guide you to deeper realizations of self, to deeper decoding of the inner matrix, right? So that's my spiel on how to see the codes of this matrix, and then use the basic understanding of energetics to recode your inner matrix, right? And so it's important to just recognize, they've been using symbols, numbers, colors, letters, advertisements, subliminals, all types of things our entire life. So now it's time for us to do the same thing, but for the betterment of the collective, right? Because they don't got no different knowledge, right? They may have some different knowledge, but our knowledge is powerful. And one thing I said in my live, talking about talking talking about how holidays are meant to stunt your spiritual growth. There is less of them than there is of us. So just imagine if we all chose to tap in and start healing and start recoding and start using the energetics to help us elevate, to help us evolve, to really understand what this reality is, and not to get caught up in this physical, and remember what we truly are by closing our eyes and going inward. Imagine that. Imagine a society backed by higher consciousness, right? That's my spiel. My name is Mark Anthony. This is Elevated Talk, and you're tuning into the Cosmic Show, all right? So just a little reminder, all right? Make sure you tell your mom, you tell your dad, you tell your sister that freedom has always been an option, all right? Peace, love. I'll catch you on the next one. Actually, hold up. For Friday's video, y'all let me know in the comments. I have 3 options, okay? Would you like to see how perfectionism has helped me heal? Or would you like to learn how to protect yourself during this shift, part 3? And then I had one more idea, which I'll put right here. Y'all let me know in the comments which one y'all would like to see. All right. Sending you nothing but love, peace, and light, and cosmic strength. Let's get this shift. Let's go.